You could not convince me.
Wow. All right, I'm done.
No,
I'm done.
I can't. I was gonna tell him he couldn't convince me
I'm confused.
to deny my people are homeless.
What's your name again?
William. Joseph.
Show us this.
American
Show us
William.
this thing.
I have to find an English translation because
William.
yeah.
Listen to me. I mean, I'm finding it. The thing is, what I find difficult is now because we live in an age, yeah, where everyone is everything. If we do like a seriously, I mean, if you do a genetic testing on most people in this circle here, yeah, this guy here, this one, that guy, him, you know, whatever. Me, I've done the genetic testing. We're all like combinations of different ethnicities. So what it seems like you're saying is like you've got to go back to a certain tribe or a certain thing. But
no one does that. No one does that.
My question is really a scientific question. To what extent do you have to be, for example, if you're 40% Jewish, are you a Jew? If you're 49%,
I'm not a rabbi. I'm not one to comment on this.
If, say, for example, someone...
It's 3 generations.
No, but no, 3 generations.
No, 3 generations? What are you talking about?
Even that's in the 3 generations. If I was to marry...
Through your mother?
So look, so if you're Hebrew, this is what is in the Torah. Yeah? If you're Hebrew and you marry a non-Hebrew, then your child is basically half Hebrew. Yeah, that's how it works.
Ethnically maybe, but not religiously.
Ethnically, forget the religion. We're not talking about the religion.
You can't tell a Jew to forget about religion. That's like telling a Muslim to forget about Islam. You can't tell a Jew to forget about religion.
Look, what we got to realise, yeah, is that before the Torah come down, yeah, people were Hebrews. Do you accept that?
Yes, I do.
Right. So being a Hebrew doesn't mean that you ascribe to Judaism, yeah, to be Jewish, yeah. It doesn't mean that you ascribe to be like the Yahudi. What we're talking about is your lineage, yeah. Who is your forefathers? Yeah, so
why does that matter today?
Because that's what the covenant's with.
No, but if you're saying everyone's
that's who the covenant's with. The covenant is with, and that's in the Quran as well. The covenant, yeah, is with the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's what the covenant is.
Yeah, but Ishmael's not a descendant of Jacob.
I'm not talking about. They've got a different covenant to purify Allah's house. That's a different covenant. But the covenant, yeah, that Allah has with the children of Israel, if they're obedient, yeah, they get certain favours, and if they're disobedient, they get punished. That covenant is with a bloodline. It's not with people that turn up and say, "Oh, I'm Jewish because I follow a religion."
Of course, I agree. I agree.
You agree?
Of course. That's why I have a hard time accepting people who claim to be Jewish. You asked me about the Ethiopians. We have no way of knowing their history. We have no way. Many of them we know for a fact that
we have a hard time of knowing your history with respect as well.
Yeah, but
do you know what I mean? Because the thing is, it's like there's been so many migrations and immigrations and all these things.
Yeah.
I'm here to everyone can speak.
But it's okay. As long as I know in my heart and history and genetic and everything that I descend thousands of years ago to Ibrahim, Yaqub, and what do you call him? Isaac or whatever. Isaac. But as long as I know, I don't need to prove to any Muslim that I'm a Jew.
That's fine. But what I'm saying to you is that you don't know that.
I do.
How would you go about proving it? For example, me, I want to know that you go back to Isaac. How would you prove it to me?
I would say because my family has been upholding the laws and rituals.
Who's your family?
The Kohanim.
Okay, so how do you know that they go all the way back to Isaac?
Because never in history have Kohanim ever abandoned. It's like the Druze people. They never leave. The Kohanim never leave.
They left.
Who left?
They left the Middle East.
No. Not land. The traditions. We have upheld our sacred traditions for thousands of years, even in exile.
Yeah, but how do you know who? Because the thing is, how do you know that your great grandma wasn't just a fully German woman? That's why you're white, like, you know. That's why you've inherited some of the white countries.
That's part of it, and
at what point now does genetics become so diluted that it's hard to say that person is?
Yeah. So I would say 2 things. One, genetically, even living in other temperatures for thousands of years can actually change your skin color. If you were to live in Sweden for 2,000 years, your descendants would be lighter skin, even if you were marrying only Arab.
No, but why is Sephardic Jews different color to Ashkenazi?
Because Sephardic Jews lived more closer to the Mediterranean.
Yeah, okay, so that's... Do you see what I'm saying here? It's all over the place, man.
Yeah, when you're people that have... Muslims have never had to deal with this. Muslims, first of all, have not been around as long as Judaism. And second of all, Muslims have never had to deal with being kicked out of their homeland. Let's stick with Arabs.
I don't know about that.
Let's stick with Arabs. Let's stick with Arabs.
I think that's the whole discussion.
Well, yeah, you can talk about whether or not Hajj Amin al-Husseini convinced the Syrian Arabs to leave Palestine, but that's a whole other discussion. But you can.
You know what you're good at? You're good at what they call poisoning the well.
That's like a bloodline. Like what Muslims used to accuse Jews of doing, poisoning the wells. Like Abu Mazen says that all the time. The Jews have poisoned the wells. That's why we're dying.
Poisoning the well is a logical fallacy. So
all I'm talking about is let's take Arabs.
Assuming what someone is saying before they say it.
Oh, okay. Let's
answering the question for someone.
Okay, let's take Arabs, right? Modern day Saudi Arabia, before Al Saud, before Wahhabi, before anything, just the peninsula, right? Before there was Bahrain, before anything, just.
Bahrain was there for a long time.
But I'm saying before there were any names.
But it was in a different place. It wasn't the modern day Bahrain. Anyway,
I love Bahrain, by the way. The king is great. But anyways, so you have the Arab Peninsula. That's where Arabs come from, right? And then you had
some say that Arabs come from the Yemenis.
Yeah, they say true Arabs come from whatever. I call that Arab Peninsula as well.
Okay.
Saudi Arabia, Yemen.
But Arabs for us for Arab is someone who speaks an Arabic language.
Yeah. Well, you can be Arab, Christian, Arab, Muslim.
So a Sudanese guy is as Arab as, for example.
Do you think that if you're an Arab ethnically, Christian, religiously, you're still an Arab if you speak Arabic? Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's take the Arab nations, all the tribes. I don't know the Arab tribes, but let's take the Arab tribes of the Arabian Peninsula. Say the Romans came in and took every single Arab and kicked them out and sent them to somewhere far away, like Italy or Portugal or something. That's what we had to deal with,
no,
and then you would have had.
Our definition of Arabness is a bit different.
Okay. I'm coming at it from scientific. I don't know.
No. We don't have that. It doesn't apply to the Arab tribes because, like for example, for us we have definitions of what it means to be an Arab. من تكلم بالعربية, whoever speaks an Arabic language. من له ولد عربي, whoever has a son that's an Arab. We have certain definitions.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for us, even like for where for example the Arabian Peninsula, the spread to North Africa and stuff like that, that became Arabized.
Of course.
Berbers were not necessarily Arab in the first place. So it's a little bit different.
I don't view Berbers as
What
Arab.
I do want to say to you is this, going back away from the race discussions, one point to you, my friend, is this. I believe that...
No, yeah, because he's still going to bring it out, so we don't want to go there yet, because he's going to bring out his proof.
I need to find an English translation.
No, he understands Hebrew.
Oh, you read Hebrew? Okay.
Well, no, but read that.
Yeah, but you can translate it. Sorry.
What's it I get so excited for?
That's the first. Look at the first site that came up. Is that real? What?
Nothing.
Are you guys going to be...
So that to me tells me that you don't believe I'm a true descendant.
I never said that. No, I said let the true one. So if you're true and I'm true, we'll live and see this evening. I'll see you tomorrow morning.
Aren't we all children of Ibrahim?
No, we're not.
Why not?
No. Well, someone from Sweden and is pure Swedish is not a child of Abraham.
But if you're children of Ishmael and the children of Isaac.
Yeah, but someone from Sweden is legal.
No, I'm saying us here.
Oh, so excluding all the goyim.
You're a goy. You're a goy.
Am I goy?
Yeah.
You're goy as well then?
No.
No, why am I goy? This is interesting. Why am I goy?
Because you're Muslim.
What? So, a belief can change my blood.
What's your blood?
My blood is Hebrew.
Oh yeah, I forgot you said that. Yeah.
Yes. So what? Did you take that back? So
if you claim to be a...
No. So am I still... Because I'm dealing with some really...
Yeah, but he just said he's taking you back. He's taking you back, don't you?
Yeah, I didn't know you were going to be Hebrew.
Well, I did, because you spoke over there, didn't you?
What?
You spoke over there and you asked me, remember? Or...
Oh yeah.
No, we just want to get this
I will
evidence.
talk and discuss with you, right? But as long as you need to be calm and you need to be able to be a little bit receptacle, yeah?
Why this seems to be a problem in Israeli politics?
What?
It seems to be a problem that Ashkenazi convert-looking white people, white Jews, seem to have an issue with like Sephardic and other.
It was terrible. It used to be a huge issue.
Okay, so
it was really bad.
Fair,
so what happened was all these Jews from Arab lands came to Israel because they were. You all would say because of Israel was created. Many of us would say many were forced out. Both are true, but they came from Arabic-speaking countries to Israel, and Israel had been, for the large part, built by Yemenis and Ashkenazi Jews, and it was very European-like, and these Jews that came in dressing like Arabs, speaking Arabic.
But can I be honest?
They were discriminated against, and it's terrible.
Can I be honest with you?
But now it's not that way.
But can I be honest with you, right?
Yeah.
I want to be honest with you here. I've been listening to. I mean, you guys are more knowledgeable than me in this field. I mean, to be honest with you, genealogy and stuff like that. I haven't studied where
I've studied. I studied Jewish genealogy and history for 10 years. That's my life.
Where'd you study?
Don't worry.
Was it at Asli or where?
What's your point?
No, they don't do that at Asli.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to make sure there's a place for the.
But what I was gonna, it's not my. I'm here to just try and learn from you guys. But
But he's going to show us, like, this is very important to Akhi, because you know why, bro? I'll tell you why, because we believe, so they say for you to be a Hebrew, your mum needs to be a Hebrew. We consider this to be a falsehood.
Well, there are other definitions as well.
Because even in the Quran, Allah tells the Beni Israel to fulfill the covenant.
Yeah, but that was before. It doesn't
Yeah, but also there's something else. There's also something else.
So why do you
there
not believe
are some exceptions. There are some exceptions.
Because if you look at the grammar,
Can I answer? There are some exceptions.
Guys, this is a mess.
Listen.
we'll talk about that another time.
Listen,
Let him show us where he
I can't find it in English right now, but hold on.
No, but I can find them right.
There are some exceptions.
Is it Bereshit? Is it Devarim? Where
It's
is
not
it?
Devarim, but hold on. There are some exceptions.
Bereshit?
Yes.
Shemos? Where?
No, Bereshit.
Bereshit?
Yeah.
Where?
There are some exceptions. If you were forced to convert to Islam, Christianity, any other religion, and you can trace, I don't know how the rabbis do it, but you can trace your bloodline through your mom's side to a Jewish ancestor, then there are ways going about it where you can come back to the Jewish
Can I be
people.
totally honest with you?
Yeah.
I'm new to the topic, and I'm listening to everyone talk, but I can tell you that there are many inconsistencies in what you're saying. Let me tell you what they are, because it's on the camera, you can kind of look over them and think about what you're saying a little bit more closely. At first you said that...
By the way, I still always watch these Dawah videos on YouTube and shit like that.
You're introducing me to the topic of genealogy and lineage and stuff. I just want to say a few things. One, you said that your religious faith has nothing to do with your ethnic being as a Jew, because a Jew is an ethno-religious group.
It does everything to do with it.
But you said it has nothing. You said
no.
But hold on, William, please, because maybe it's a misconception.
Yeah.
You can help me, yeah. But what you said is that even you can be a Jewish atheist. That's what you said.
Yeah.
Okay, so clearly that means to say that
like Albert Einstein.
Yes,
people.
fine. So you can be Jewish in blood, but atheist in belief.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Whether it's fortunate or unfortunate, it's a reality.
Yeah.
So the same thing should apply with Islam, Christianity, or these other religions, no?
No, because Muslim is not an ethnic group. You can be an Arab Muslim, a Turkish Muslim,
what I'm saying,
Persian
can you
Muslim.
be a Jewish Muslim?
I suppose.
Okay, so it's not a contradiction.
No.
You can be Jewish and
ethnically Jewish,
way,
religiously
and
Muslim.
religiously
Yeah.
Muslim. Okay, no problem.
Create some interesting.
I understand that now.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. What seems to have come out in this discussion is a few things which I found a little bit disturbing.
Okay.
I'll be completely honest with
Yeah.
you. I remember one time I actually used to do a bit of research for an institute called the Leo Beck Institute.
Yeah, I know.
You know the Leo Beck Institute? Okay, because I was doing my postgraduate and I did a bit of research there. Anyways, at any rate, what we found was that one of my research projects was about basically racism in Israel. I wanted to find out what kind of racial divides there are in all these things. From my research, and a lot of it is on the polling data, what I've been able to track is that, for example, black people, because I wanted to know who are the most despised people in Israel. And it seems to me that I was surprised by the results myself, because I was going in thinking it would be the Arabs or the Muslims.
The Arab Israelis are not.
Yeah, so I found...
They serve as Supreme Court justices, police officers, politicians, everything.
Well, whatever, but it's not the Arabs. What I found was the black people.
It's very sad, yeah.
Yeah, so black people that claim to be Jewish from Ethiopia, or black people that come as in migrants, Sudan. There was actually
Eritrea and Sudan, yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of them were asked questions in polls, the Israeli polls, questions like, who do you fear the most? Or do you fear Arab, black, and black people always get the highest number.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And that's why they've been protesting Israel, etc., right? But I think some of the underlying reasons why that might be the case, maybe because of this shunning of people of the black Jewish community. So for example, someone comes and says, I'm an Ethiopian Jew. Okay, someone says, I'm an Ethiopian Jew. That individual will have less of a case, if you like, than someone who's white and says, I'm an Ashkenazi Jew. Where both of those individuals have as much potentially genealogical genetic data to verify their claim, potentially, right? But if someone is white like yourself or looks European, they're more likely to get away with being a Jew than someone who's an Ethiopian, because of the very fact that there's this presupposition that Jewish people have to be white, light-skinned somehow.
Well, no, most Jews in the world are the skin, your color skin.
But, yeah, fine.
And I agree.
What he said was actually a very valid point, because what he said is that if we're presupposing that the Jews or the Beni Israel, they went to Egypt, then obviously they had the Nubians in Egypt, and that's why me, for instance, look at my color, right? I'm not exactly your color, am I? Right? There are people that are your color in Egypt, but I'm saying that it's not really the prevalent thing, especially not in ancient times. So what we're saying is that, isn't there a bit of a contradiction in two things? In the way you've understood genealogy, and number two, in the way that the policies are enacted in Israel, now with the law of return, where they favor, you could say, light-skinned people over above black.
They don't favor any color skin. As a matter of fact, the most people coming to Israel right now are Jews from France who came from Morocco because they're fleeing, with all due respect, Muslim violence against Jews.
But you said yourself, Morocco was, you believe that Morocco was good to the Jews?
Tunisia and Morocco were the two Muslim countries that were actually very good to the Jews for most of the history. There were always instances where...
What's the issue? But, why are they fleeing? Why is it always fleeing?
So in France and Paris today, and Toulouse and Strasbourg, a Jew walks down the street and many Muslims will say Yahudi and spit on him or beat him. That happens.
Well, it happens the other way around as well.
That's a whole other discussion we can have about whether or not Jews should be more violent. I think Jews should maybe be more aggressive, but that's a whole other discussion.
Are you Zionist?
That has nothing to do with anything.
Well, maybe the aggression policy.
No,
what are you saying?
I believe that Jews should be more self-defensive, especially in Europe, and should not let people push them around like they do.
Okay, so I mean,
that has nothing to do with Zionism. Do I believe that Jews deserve to have a country?
Just say yes or no.
Do I believe that Jews deserve to live in their own country?
Okay, I understand your point. I'll leave it to you.
What did Nasser say? Nasser believed in Arab nationalism.